Okay, my talk will be on restoring this very vintage looking computer here because it's really vintage. Okay, so what is this vintage PC over here? Okay, so this is called the Mac LC3. Okay, so it's a third generation LC. LC stands for low cost. Okay, so this released by Apple in February 1993. Okay, so the low cost for education market. There's another name for this machine. It's called a Performa 450. They are both exactly the same. It's just a different brand name. Okay. Okay, so you can see the price at the time of release, right? About 1,349 US dollars. So in terms of today's pricing, it's about 3,000 US dollars, and yeah, Singapore dollars about almost $4,000. Okay. So not exactly low cost today. Yeah. But at that time computers were quite expensive. Then pizza box. So there's another term for this called pizza box form factor. Yeah, it really looks like pizza box because when you later after the talk, right, then you can just open it. It's just open like that, like a pizza box. Okay. So for hardware specifications, you can take a look there. It runs on a Motorola 68K CPU. Okay. So this was the days when Apple was. These are how many generations behind? Today is Apple Silicon, right? Before that was x86. Before x86 was the PowerPC. Before PowerPC it was this. So Apple has changed so many times already. Then it is a 512K of video RAM. In terms of the normal RAM, right, it has 4 megabytes of internal RAM. Then it has a SIM72 slot, which can take up to 32 megabytes. So total will be 36 megabytes. Okay. It has a floppy drive, although the floppy drive on this machine is not working now. Okay. Then it has a 40 megabyte SCSI hard drive inside. At the time of release, this was a specification. This machine can run up to Mac OS 761. The final release that can run on this. So the final release was released in April 1997. Okay, so how did I got this machine? Because someone donated it to me. So at the time when it was donated to me, this machine cannot be powered on. I tried to supply power to it, then obviously it couldn't work. Okay, that is technically a bad practice. If you have a vintage PC, by right, you should not just directly power it. You might blow up something, but I didn't really care. So I just applied power to it, then yeah, it couldn't turn on. Yeah. So it was actually quite dusty. You can't really see from the photo, but it's quite dusty. And the machine actually is made in Singapore. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You can see example, even you can see the cable example from the cable here. See? Yeah, so at that time Apple had a factory here. Okay, so yeah, so so the issues that I would found after some troubleshooting, right? The power supply unit wasn't working. So very simple, it's just basically I disconnected the power supply cable, you just apply power on the outside. Then I just check with the monitor whether it's supplying any power. There's no power at all. Then the 40 megawatt hard drive is totally dead. The floppy drive is dead also. Then okay, someone's coming in. Okay, then these electrolytic capacitors on the motherboard, there are quite a number of them. All of them were leaking already. I mean, it's not surprising. This machine is more than 30 years old already. So it is yeah, it's an issue that has to be fixed because the danger with this leaking electrolytic capacitor is that they will once it leak to the motherboard, it might actually corrode the PCB. Then once it corrodes to a point, right, it might not even be recoverable. But thankfully, the PCBs when I check it, right, it looks still okay lah. Then there's a PRAM battery. Okay, there is you can think of it something like RTC battery. This battery I checked with the multimeter, fully drained, 0 volts already. Okay, so the first step is actually I had to fix up the motherboard So to recap all the electrolytic capacitors. So I found a guide online. It's a nice guide. It just tells you that these are the capacitors you need to change Okay, so it just tells you these are those that need to change and what you need to change with. Okay, so there are a total of 11 capacitors that has to be changed, and there's one particular capacitor that had to be. They warn you right that the original orientation is incorrect. Okay, so let me go further into that. Okay, the title here basically says incorrect C22 capacitor position. So this error was officially discovered and documented online only quite recently, last year. So according to the site, right, there's some murmurs on forums that something might be wrong with this capacitor position, but nobody go and document it and did some tests. So this guy, this his blog with his website downtown.brown, right? He did some testing. He found out that this silk screen on the motherboard is actually wrong. And Apple also placed the capacitor wrongly. It's a design flaw. Okay, so the correct position is where you see, okay, over here, right, the anode, silk screen position says that the anode is at the bottom, the cathode is at the top. But when this guy did a test, right, he found out that actually the 5 volt is applied to the bottom. So this negative 5 volt is actually used for the RS422 board. So most of the time people don't use the serial port. So most of the time people don't discover this flaw. But okay, so the issue now is that the modern replacement guides, right, they will say replace with a tantalum capacitor, something like this. Now, a tantalum capacitor is a lot more sensitive to a incorrect polarity. It might fail, shorted, or worse, explode. Okay, so that's why so I replace with tantalum capacitor and I follow the correct polarity. Ignore whatever's on the switch screen. Okay, then as for the power supply unit, so I open it up, then this was open up, the original unit lah. It's very bad lah. So all the capacitors basically leaking and the PCB is corroded. There's almost no chance of trying to save it already. So I replaced with a modern alternative. As you can see, it's over here. Okay, it looks a lot smaller, right? But of course, it's not the full function. Okay, so what is this modern alternative? It's actually a open source project, right? That lets you use a modern ATX power supply to power this, and then after that you use a Pico PSU. A Pico PSU is this small board. Of course, it's a lot smaller than a full size the PSU, right? The reason is because most of the current conversion from the AC to DC is handled by external adapter. So this one only down it takes in 12 volt, then it just converts to the lower 5 volt and others lah. So that's why it doesn't need to be so big. So so actually open source project, so I just fabricated lah. You all can take a look at this. I just drew. Yeah, so this one. This is a board. Just a small board. So the board only generates a minus 5 volt because modern ATX PSU don't generate minus 5 volts. Okay, then the big adapter is you guys can't see, it's somewhere below. Later you all can see. Okay, then heatsink. So I place on heatsinks over the key heat generating ICs. Not strictly required because the original design they didn't put the heatsink there, but I guess for longevity reasons, you don't let the chip heat up too much. So I just add heatsink to those components that I felt was a bit hot. Okay, then extra upgrade that I did, I just bought an Ethernet network card. Yeah, so I just put it at the PDS slot. So PDS slot, you think of it as an expansion slot lah. Of course, it's quite slow, only 10 megabit Ethernet. Okay, for external adapters, so this machine doesn't have an easy way of it. Okay, when I received this machine, right, I did not get any adapter. I only got this machine. So you want to connect to a modern display, you want to connect to a modern accessory, how you going to do it? Okay, so Apple, right, at that time they use something called ADB or Apple Desktop Bus to interface their peripherals, the mouse and the keyboard. The thing is, I don't have an ADB mouse and keyboard, so I only got the modern one. So there's actually open source project. You can just buy this ADB to USB. They just plug your modern peripheral here. It's just an adapter. Here, you can see here. Then for the display out, right, it's using this DB15 or this HD15, yeah. Okay, so it's very similar to VGA. So you just need to plug adapter in, then outside it comes with VGA lah. Okay, because I don't have that monitor that's for this. Okay, for storage, right, since the hard drive is already dead, right, there's actually a modern alternative. It's called Blue SCSI. So it's a Blue SCSI, you can see here, they're using a STM32, the blue pill. Okay, the modern one, they're using a RP2040. Yeah, this when I repaired this machine, it was last year. At that time, there was they don't have the RP2040, so they was using this. So you just put the SD card, then you put this image there, then it will just appear as a SCSI hard drive to the system. A much better alternative, modern alternative. Okay, so for the operating system, so I was a bit lazy because I just took a normal disk image. Because the proper way by right is you either install through the floppy drive or you have a SCSI CD-ROM drive, which I both don't have. The floppy drive is not working, so it will be very difficult to install something the proper way. So I just take a off-the-shelf disk image and I flash it, at least to try to make sure it works. But the thing about Blue SCSI is that it can emulate CD images also. So you can put multiple these images inside Blue SCSI, then you appear as multiple SCSI devices because SCSI have multiple devices on the same bus. Yeah. Okay, so at the end, so let's have a quick demo. Hope it works. So what I've done here is that the machine is still currently off. So I'm going to stream the video output using the video capture. Okay, let's turn it on. Did it work?
Logitech was even around when this Mac was released.
Logitech should be around. Actually, Logitech is quite an old company. Okay, yes, it's on. Yeah, the mouse is working. It takes a while to start. Let's be patient.
No one remembers the long road times back then.
So what is not a hard drive, it's technically a solid state drive really.
To be fair, I imagine it's limited by how fast it can.
Yeah, it's the bus limit, yeah.
761. Mac release.
This one's 753. I'm using the old one. It can go up 761, but the image they provide 753.
Oh. Oh, that's nice. That's Mac.
Yeah, it works. It loads ready.
Oh, the time is pretty close too.
No, I set it off because the PRAM is working. Okay, now that you mentioned, yeah, there's a thing about the date and time. So you can see Mac OS 753. Okay, so the machine is working.
Oh, Mac LC has color.
Ah, it's color. It's called low cost color.
Oh, the LC means low cost.
Okay, so let's see the control panel. So yeah. Okay, you see the date and time, right? 1925, right? It's because I cannot set to 2025.
Year 2005.
You see what's the highest it can go? See, the highest is actually 2019. Then it looks bad. So that's why I set to 1925. I don't think they expect the machine to be used until.
I'm sure there's in the code behind it there must be some. They probably don't store it as like maybe less than 8 bits just for the year.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't have any interesting applications here, but just to check that the sound is working right, I can just go here.
Looks like a box of snails. Wait, that quack sound effect. That's still on. That's still used.
Okay, I don't have any other applications really lah. So that's just it. I didn't install other things. Let me see if I
Some arbitrary transistors.
Don't Sarah, do not the group.
Is that the Blue SCSI emulating application or a drive? The rotary part.
Yeah, it is a drive, correct? It's a SCSI drive. It's a disk image inside. Okay, so that's it lah. That's the end already. Presentation. Y'all can play later lah after this. Okay.
Any games, no games.
I'm not.
Maybe get Monkey Island. Yeah.
Sorry. Mac LC3.
Oh, the Performer 450 was it as well?
Yeah, that's another name of it. Yeah. So is okay.
Hey, thanks, Kheng.
Okay, that's all lah.